Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Breastfeeding Live information session today. For the month of December, we're doing a holiday survival guide for the breastfeeding mom. And today we're joined by our awesome breastfeeding professionals here at the Austin WIC program. We have Shannon and Angela, and they're going to be teaching us all about how to get through this holiday season while you're breastfeeding. So I'll let the ladies take it away. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so my name is Shannon. I am a breastfeeding peer counselor senior. I have been here with the WIC program going, I think 11 years now. It's been time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, this is a great presentation. I'm excited to present it to y'all. So let's get started. Okay, the holidays, it's a joyous time, but it can be really stressful, especially as a mom with a newborn, especially if you're breastfeeding. So we came up with this to give y'all some tips and tricks that you can do to kind of help you get through that and give you some ideas. These tips can be applied to any family gathering or holiday time. We're inclusive of all families at WIC. Again, holidays can be stressful for breastfeeding moms because we have these busy family gatherings. We're not sleeping a whole lot because we have a newborn. Now we're stressed out and not sleeping a lot because all of these things we have to do for the holidays. Sometimes lack of support, not sometimes, lack of support is always stressful. Support is so important to help you get through tough things in life, stressful things. Also, too, flus, coughs, colds, sniffles, all of those things too. When we're around more people, we're more exposed to those. And then traveling, that's hard. So here are some tips and tricks to help you get through all of those.
Great. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, I am Angela, and I'm just going to kind of talk about these gatherings a little bit more. Like Shannon said, the holidays can be so stressful, but not just the holidays. It's a stressful time for new families. So here are just a few tips that you can use along the way at some of these gatherings. It's really easy to forget to nurse on your normal schedule because it's just a different time. So even if you had a great schedule planned out, sometimes it's really hard to get off track on that. So just don't forget to nurse often. Your goal should be about every 2 to 3 hours or anytime the baby gives those hunger cues. You can set reminders on your phone during these gatherings. I feel like that's such an important thing because you'll start talking to people, you'll get busy, whether you're hosting or whatever. It's a busy time. So reminders on your phone are a really good way to check in and make sure that you're not missing any of those cues. You can bring a baby carrier. You can wear your baby. You can have any kind of any kind of thing to keep your baby close by. It's really helpful. Also, you want to, if at all possible, you want to nap when the baby is wanting to nap. Sometimes we all need to break away from those gatherings a little bit. So that's a great thing that you can try to do. And also, if you have a new baby, everybody is going to want to hold the baby, which is great. But if you are passing your baby around, letting everybody see and hold the baby, just give them a quick little lesson to see what to look for when it comes to those hunger cues. Because it's great, you're going to have an extra set of hands to help out, but you want them to kind of help be your extra set of eyes. So you're not going to miss any feedings, just letting them know, hey, if my baby starts to kind of suck on his hands or anything like making the mouthing movements, kind of little things to look out for whenever they're being the one helping out with your baby. And then only pass the baby around when you're comfortable with that. And then also that once the baby has been fed. You also want to wear comfortable nursing clothes so the baby can breastfeed wherever you go. So you want to be comfortable and you want to have something on that's very accessible and easy to do that. If you're a little uncomfortable about maybe being exposed in any kind of way, or just your own comfort level, you can go ahead and practice in front of the mirror. That's a really great way to see, like, what is everybody else going to see when I'm trying to sit here and breastfeed? So that's a really great way to feel more confident about that. Also ask for help. If you are the one hosting or cooking or feeling overwhelmed, make sure you set yourself up for support, with support. That's what Shannon had mentioned earlier on too, is, the support is the most important thing. And also plan a private spot to rest or breastfeed if needed, because sometimes the baby might be overstimulated as well. And again, you might need a nap, baby might need a nap, but just always have a little, maybe a bedroom, or, identify a place if it's not at your home, just kind of a little place where you can kind of sneak away and get away if you need to. All right, this one is important, but not very easy. Slow down and take a lot of breaks. It's, again, much easier said than done, but really take time for yourself. And you can play that new mom card. This is the time that you can be, worried about yourself and your babies. Just let others do some of that work. Let go of the things that are not important. And sometimes the greatest gift that they can give you is helping out. So don't feel guilty about that, and just take advantage of the help that you can get. Let others take care of these other holiday tasks while you focus on your baby. If that makes you feel more comfortable, have them help with the cooking or whatever else it is, while you focus on your baby. And then also brush off any unsolicited advice. Everybody has lots of opinions, and they always want to share those, whether they're good, positive or negative. They're going to share those things with you, and that's okay, because you want to listen. And but if there's any opinions that might upset you about breastfeeding or anything else, just try to brush it off. Don't take anything personally. That could be a good time to educate others on breastfeeding, or just to let them know how important that is to you and how healthy it is for you and your baby. But I think this is really important too. Just, you don't owe anyone an explanation for feeding your baby. That's a decision that you've made. Regardless of how you choose to feed your baby, that's your decision, and you don't have to justify that to anyone. You are always going to be the expert on your own baby. All right. But mainly, yeah, just do what works best for you. You know your baby. Some people thrive in those high stress environments, and some people completely shut down. So just do what feels right for you. Don't overdo it. And just parent confidently that you got this. This is your situation, your family, and surround yourself with people that support that. Also, another thing that's not always that easy is just to not feel guilty if you don't or can't make it to every single event. There's so many things going on around the holidays, but don't feel like you have to go and do all of the things. It's okay sometimes if it's just too much. Enjoy your first holiday time with your baby, whichever you see fit. If you want to be surrounded by lots of people, great. If you're not as comfortable with that, that's okay too. Just do whatever works best for you and your baby. And overcommitment, that is a recipe for frustration and meltdowns for you and your baby, and maybe others. So just know that sometimes too, if you overcommit and want to try to do all of the things, it just doesn't even make it enjoyable. Sometimes it's, you try to do it because you don't want to miss out on the things, and then you end up just going and being stressed out. So don't overcommit yourself. Select what you want to do and what's important to you, to prevent those kinds of things from happening. And also, it's okay to cancel on plans last minute if you or your baby are having a bad day. Anybody that's a parent will understand that. So again, there's that new mom card, right? I liked that phrase earlier. It's just, it's okay to play that new mom card. This is the time to do that. You don't have to justify your actions or your feelings at that time. So don't feel guilty about any of those things, and just do what makes you happy.
Angela, I'm still playing the mom card, not the new mom card, but the mom card.
That's your card just changes. It's not
Mom
the
of
new mom
teenagers.
card. You still, oh gosh, not ready for that. But does not have to be the new mom card. Exactly. The new part comes off, other descriptors come in there, and that's okay. And then, yeah, the parent card is very
There you
universal.
go.
You know, there's
Yes.
lots of ways to use it at certain appropriate
Yes.
times.
Mom, dad, partner, all the
Family
above.
card, yeah. The dog card, like, you know, all the
Yes.
cards, you know.
Yes. Okay. Something that may help you too is be prepared for questions and comments about breastfeeding. I know that there's a lot of stigma that goes on. A lot of women are afraid to breastfeed in public or around large family gatherings because they're afraid that someone's going to come at them negatively. And that's okay. Just be prepared for that to happen. You can smile and say thank you and just keep doing what you're doing. Like Angela mentioned, you're doing what's best for you and your baby and your family. Some things that you can say is, my doctor told me to feed the baby when he's hungry. If the comment is about your older baby or toddler continuing to nurse, tell them the World Health Organization recommends breastfeeding at least until 2 years old, with additional food as well, but nursing at least until 2 years old. If the remark is related to how frequently you feed your baby, you can remind them that your baby's growing very quickly, and it takes a lot of calories to do that. Breast milk is very easy, digestible. Babies eat, digest, poop, they're hungry again. So they eat more often than formula-fed babies. Formula-fed babies are more so on a schedule, I would say, than breastfed babies. So it may be a bottle feeding mom that comes and says, hey, my baby only eats every 3 hours and yours eating every hour. There's nothing wrong with that. Both of those are normal for those situations. Also, too, redirection works well. Instead of directly responding to an impolite question or unasked for advice, you can respond by saying, that's interesting perspective. Do you have any fun plans this summer? Just kind of redirect, and hopefully they get that hint and they're able to just kind of move on with the next question, with the next conversation. Traveling. If you're traveling long distance, plan for regular stops for breastfeeding and diaper changes. That's super, super important. Definitely make a plan for that. You don't want to end up on the side of the road and the highway trying to breastfeed the baby or change the diaper. So planning for that is very essential. Bring lots of water and healthy snacks. If you plan to pump, bring your pump with you on the plane, train, or car. I do know that there are a lot of pumps out there these days that are rechargeable, so you don't have to have that plug-in outlet. You would be able to pump in your car or a plane or train to see how comfortable you feel about that. For airline travel, visit the TSA website for guidelines on traveling with the breast pump or expressed milk. I know there are limitations on how much milk you can bring with you, how many containers. Definitely make sure that you're researching that. You don't want to have to throw out any milk because you have too much to get onto the plane with. I think I would maybe drink it, or like let me feed the baby really quick instead of dumping it. But yeah. Okay, for pumping or breastfeeding plans during travel, you can always contact your WIC breastfeeding peer counselor or lactation consultant at Mom's Place. They are full of great ideas. They can definitely help you plan out your pumping schedule and come up with things like that for you. You do not have to be on the WIC program to talk to a WIC breastfeeding peer counselor. You can always call and then they can call you back.
Great. So yeah, and along those lines too, just so everybody's very familiar with what Mom's Place is, like Shannon said, they're here for breastfeeding support. You don't have to be on the WIC program to get help from Mom's Place. We, of course, have breastfeeding peer counselors in all of our WIC clinics. But at Mom's Place, they're just dedicated just to helping with breastfeeding. And they have lactation consultants and nurses and wonderful staff to be able to help with that. And at the end, I believe we have their contact information at the end as well. So another thing to kind of think through during the holidays is illness. There's a lot of stuff going on around. The weather is all crazy. You never know what kind of bug is going to be going around, especially too if you have other like school age children or anything like that that are bringing home other germs. There's a lot of stuff going around. So just making sure that family or friends or anybody else that's wanting to kind of hold the baby, asking them to wash their hands or have hand sanitizer readily available is kind of always a good thing to do. And just know that if you become ill during the holidays, that can affect your supply. You know, of course, if you're vomiting, dehydration, getting fevers, sometimes that can lower your lower your milk supply a little. But it's still very important to breastfeed while you are sick. It's really important because as a breastfeeding mother, if you come in contact with some kind of virus or illness, your body already starts to make these antibodies to fight off that sickness. So if you're making antibodies to fight off this cold, and you're breastfeeding your baby, those antibodies get passed through the milk to your baby. So if your baby is exposed to that same virus or sickness, your baby is going to have those antibodies ready to fight that off. So it's very unlikely that your baby, you know, if you have something, you're going to be around your baby. So they're going to probably be exposed. So it's even better to make sure that they do get your breast milk at that time. If you're too sick to where you do have to pump, it's okay. I mean, if you're not able to breastfeed, it's okay to go ahead and try to pump and feed that milk to your baby too, to make sure that they're getting those antibodies to fight off those infections. So extremely important during illnesses to make sure that you're still able to get that breast milk to your baby. If your nursing baby does become ill, they might not feel like breastfeeding nearly as often either, which is very normal. But that could also lead to a fullness feeling in the breasts, like an engorgement kind of feeling, just because you're used to getting more milk out than you are at that time. There's things that we can do in those situations too, though. You can always make sure that if your baby's not nursing on every 2 to 3 hours schedule, then making sure that you're going to pump if your baby's not nursing as effectively, or if baby's sleeping through feedings. Those are times too, if you're worried about that, reach out to a lactation consultant to get more assistance with that, to make sure that it doesn't affect your supply, and also to make sure your baby's getting an adequate amount while they're not feeling well, because the breast milk already is going to have so many other things in it to help them stay healthy. And making sure that you take time to rest if you're not feeling well. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is just so important for any breastfeeding mother, regardless if you're sick or not. So if you are sick, that just makes it even more important to make sure you're staying really well hydrated and drinking lots of water. Also to be careful of certain cold medications. Make sure you always ask your doctor before using anything, because things like pseudoephedrine, Benadryl, medications like that, they can decrease your supply. Mainly anything that's kind of going to dry out sinuses. Think of it, it could dry some amount of your milk. So you want to be really cautious about that. Talk to your healthcare provider, and they usually can give you ideas of maybe some safer alternatives that you could use that won't affect your supply. And if you do have to use certain those medications, making sure you're doing other things to help increase your supply. So there's always things that, you know, we can help kind of work through to make sure you and your baby get healthy, stay healthy, and your supply stays good as well.
The new year, New Year's Eve, it's best to avoid alcohol while breastfeeding. However, there are certain guidelines, and we want to encourage you before you do drink alcohol, if you plan on it, just to talk to your doctor or talk to a lactation consultant for some more specific advice. Be careful with weight loss plans too. This is another issue to carefully discuss with your doctor or lactation consultant. Losing weight too quickly during breastfeeding can affect the milk supply as well. Support. Having lots of support is important for any time during breastfeeding, but during holidays or family gatherings, be sure just to have a special plan. You can always call your WIC breastfeeding peer counselors or the lactation consultants at Mom's Place. Establish your support system within your own family and friends. If this is difficult, find some mom groups on social media or some other well-trusted breastfeeding groups. Here is our information. That top one is the City of Austin. That's our WIC program information phone number. And then the Mom's Place Lactation Support Center, that number 972-6700. That's a great place for resources as well. Happy holidays. I know it can be stressful, but you got this. Y'all are going to do fabulous. I know it.
Yes. Plan ahead,
Yes.
But don't overthink it. Don't stress out about it, and enjoy it and have fun. Enjoy the time with your baby and the time with friends and family, and reach out to us if you have any other questions or need more support.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I learned so much about just how to be supported during this time because it's a stressful time for anyone, especially if you have a new baby. So thank you, Angela and Shannon. If y'all are watching this live or the recorded version, feel free to leave any comments down below and we'll get back to those as soon as we can. And if you need to give us a call, the numbers are right there on the screen. But thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that y'all have a great holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you. Bye.